Hi everyone, my name is Marta Piekarska-Geater. I am the Executive Director at FIL, Filecoin Incentive Design Labs. In case you haven't heard about us yet, we're one of the nucleated teams. We've been going on for 5 months now, 4 months, something like that. I joined Filecoin ecosystem only in January, but it's been a crazy ride. So where have we started? About 6 months ago, this is how the structure for FIL Plus data cap distribution looked like. It was very much focused on the LDN notaries, as you of course know, and then there were the EFIL notaries and direct allocation notaries. It was quite centralized in one group of people that had the power to distribute data cap. It was a big group of people, and we only needed two, but it was still kind of one big group of people. And if we go back to what are we trying to achieve with FIL Plus, I actually went back to this really good paper that some of you here, I think, wrote, which is the importance of FIL Plus for Filecoin ecosystem. And it was designed, and over yesterday we've had a few discussions of like, why do we have FIL Plus? And it's really cool to go back to the original kind of paper and say it incentivizes storage providers to invest in business development efforts that connect them with clients looking for cloud storage services by valuing the onboarding of data from real verified clients 10 times more relative to that of onboarding empty storage capacity. It is supposed to focus on the real data, or it recognizes that real data is more worthy of protection than empty storage capacity, and thus requires the storage providers to put up to 10 times more collateral to secure data. And I'm sure you all saw that graph that Juan put up a while ago as well. It's like, ideally, we will have 10% of committed capacity and 90% of real deals. The more we go towards just committed capacity and malicious deals, and of course we could have a discussion what is a malicious deal and all that stuff, but that's not the point of this. I just want to show you how the new program, or the refreshed FIL Plus program that we introduced in March this year, has been adjusting and improving the state of data cap distribution. So I'll show you a little reboot of data cap stats that we've launched. It's literally been deployed yesterday. I'm sure you're familiar with data cap stats. It wasn't great. It still isn't great, but it's much better than it was. And you can see here that actually it's pretty good, right? We have allocated or handed out, the governance team has handed out about 490 pips of data cap, out of which 39%, so almost 40% has been allocated to storage providers. So it is being used, right? There's still 60% that is sitting there unused, but also there isn't, after the initial application phase where we had about 120 or 150 even applications for allocators. So out of this 150, 80 allocators have been selected. Not all of them actually became then an active allocator. So some of them have not been giving out data cap. So as you can see, we have 84 total allocators approved. So these are teams that have data cap in their hands and could be giving it out to people. 51 of them are active. So 30 are kind of asleep, and we are making moves. There have been moves made or requests to remove that data cap from them if they are not going to become active. Recognizing, of course, that some people just take longer to onboard and so on. We've served, or the system has served almost 3,000 clients, which is, I think, pretty good. And you can see that week on week, the data cap is being allocated further and further and further. So it is growing, right? You can see that there is a little slowdown here, but that's basically because we are in Wednesday. So we still have a few days left for that. This is all kind of live and fed from on-chain data. This is not statically created. If we go to the data cap used over time by allocators, this is another improvement to the data cap stats that we've done. We are showing kind of since the week 18th of this year, which is when the new system has been introduced, how have the allocators been giving data? How diverse is it? Is it just to one client or to many? And I am sure many of you who are smart and notice things, although it's not very hard to notice, you will notice those two big columns here. That's actually the data cap that was still with FIL Plus and LDN network. So that there was still data cap in that system. And if you can, like, we can even look at it here and see what kind of allocators have been done. So and going back to the sand key chart, we are trying to experiment with new ways of visualizing that, because with 80 allocators, it's kind of hard to have a sand key chart. It's not very visually appealing. So we are trying to show how many allocators hold how big chunks of data cap here. So about 65 allocators have between 10 and 15 PIBs of data that has been allocated to them. 13 allocators have less than 10 PIBs, and 6 allocators have more than 15 PIBs. And then as you go further, you can just see how that kind of spreads out. And you can see here that there are 96 clients that have been using that data cap of 10 PIBs per allocator, and 83% as unassigned, it's unused. So going back, so that's like, you can click through the data cap stats. I think that there are various improvements to the dashboards. We do believe that, as Lauren likes to say, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we want to show the distribution and how the program is going. So that's data cap stats. We also have David Gasquez is maintaining the Filecoin Pulse project, where he's also taking data from other sources. And so we are able to look at distribution by country, allowance by country, and so on and so forth. It's kind of interesting. Most of our allocators are in China. There's a fair chunk in North America as well. That's of course self-reported. It's not something that we are very deeply able to verify. VPNs are kind of very commonly used here. But requested data by country is mostly in Europe, which is interesting, right? So the clients are sitting in Europe. If we look through, data cap allocations week on week, and how is it kind of diverse, right? So it kind of fluctuates, but it is a steady state, as you could see. And we are onboarding data every month. And there are new client IDs and new providers coming in every month, which is also quite important to us, that there is more, or it's not only the same old actors that we know from the past. And finally, we have been really looking at the retrievals. We are launching a new compliance report that helps to analyze behavior of clients and also analyze behavior of allocators. How are they compliant with the metrics that they've set out for themselves? You can see that actually the retrieval success rate has been growing time over time, and Patrick has given a talk yesterday, so I'm not going to dive deeper into that. Go and watch the recording of that. But it is growing, especially as we are introducing more requirements and making it more kind of point of audit to make sure that the data is retrievable. So far, we had 16 audits, so 16 allocators run out of their initial allocation and requested more. Out of those, 2 have passed, partially, so meaning we are not really sure, the governance team hasn't been really sure that they have passed, but we are taking the leap of faith here and trusting that the governance team will give them a little bit more of allocation for them to now show that they are actually now behaving according to their rules. And 4 of them hasn't passed. So is it great? It could be better, but we are getting somewhere. This is like, we are really seeing that between having better metrics and having a better auditing system, we are not increasing the speed with which the data cap is being given out, but we are increasing the quality of how the data cap is being given out. And you can all check it out by yourself. I have created some handy dandy QR codes, and that's it from me.